Yeah, so in the real world, I was listening to Steve Hoka's latest video he did in the middle of the night. I like to call it the middle of the night, but just the same, or maybe at the very beginning of today, which of course is to me the middle of the night. But just the same, Steve brought up a lot of valuable points. He really did. And yeah, he's correct. When he spoke about me, he was correct. Yeah, I've done a lot of work on social engineering. Sometimes I think too much, but it is the truth. And, yeah, he's right. I don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV in what? 12 to 14 years. I walked away from TV a long time ago. And I don't watch TV. And now I've tried a couple of times since. Nah, I don't want anything to do with it. So, and he can take some stuff from the TV set and make some points out of it, great. Because I sure can't, because I don't watch it. But he did say some valuable stuff, okay, which is true. But then, is that a success? I guess that would have to depend on the definition of what you want to call a success. Okay, so you got a woman in your life. Because, yeah, you can observe a game and you can go out in public, which I do, and you see couples together, no doubt. That's never changed. But then how would it change? Okay? It's not going to change for the overall of what you notice if you're looking to notice. I guess it's sort of like you buy a new vehicle, a different vehicle than you've ever had before. And before you bought that vehicle, you see vehicles every day going down the road. You drive down the road and you don't necessarily notice the vehicle at all. And then you buy this new vehicle that's new to you, whether it's brand new off the showroom floor or whether it's new to you as a new used car. Doesn't matter. You get a vehicle, and maybe you've never owned this kind of vehicle before, and you think, wow, it's a pretty cool vehicle. You're checking it out, you blah, blah, blah. You end up liking it, you test drive, it runs good, you buy it, right? And within the first 6 months of ownership of this new vehicle, you notice these vehicles everywhere. But before you bought that vehicle, you never noticed them. Yeah. See, and if you go out there looking in the dating arena and you're watching, whether you're watching on TV or whether you go to the game or whether you go to the mall or whether you're at a flea market or whether you're at a concert or whether you're at an event, it doesn't matter. If you go out with the intent to see how many men or women have a guy in their arms, you're going to notice that. Like buying that new used vehicle or that brand new vehicle, okay, that you never had before, that you never noticed before, that now you're noticing it everywhere because you own one. Yeah. It's the same thing. It really is. And so, what is a success? I haven't asked that with an honest, open heart. I want to ask you, what do you measure as a success? Because you got a woman in your life? That's a success? Now, my opinion, this is my opinion, I would measure that as a success. Success would be, okay, you got a woman in your life. When you can be with this woman for several years and still be happy. That's right, and still be happy. And still get along. That's right. And if both of you still feel the same way, then I would say that's what I would be measuring success by length of time that you can be with her and still be happy. And her still be happy. And that's me. Now, why would I say I would measure a success on that? Not the success of, I got a girlfriend. Because the one thing you will observe is when you have more and more women choosing out of the dating scene, whether she's a career woman or not, these women have chose to not get involved with a man, either through being too busy in a career or through the social engineering of actually hating men and never owning up to it, or not wanting to be bothered or inconvenienced with it for a percentage of them, okay? But there could be many different reasons, but I'll guarantee you social engineering is one leg of them reasons. One leg, okay? But then you also have men that opt out of wanting a woman in their life that are not gay. That are not gay. See, we've got a society that social engineering has created at least 60 to 70% of the problems, okay, between the genders. Then you have other factors that come into it. As Steve mentioned, money, not necessarily money. I totally agree with Steve on that because I know that to be true. In the manosphere, it is true. These men seem to think that women all want men with success. You know, and it can become confusing. You know, like today, I was at the bank, and they had messed up on my account. I never understand their system, but money that was put into my account yesterday that showed up and registered on my account yesterday disappeared overnight. Yep. Instant whammo, presto, gone. Okay. And I had to get a hold of the bank, say, okay, where is it? They had to do an investigation and call me back and say, oops, sorry. There was a glitch. We don't know what happened, but we have fixed it. Okay. I log into my account. Okay, you fixed it, right? And then later on today, I went to the bank. I physically walked into the bank. And I got something out for Heather. And she gives me the receipt. And I noticed the balance, and I know exactly what I got in my account. And I seen the balance, and so as I was walking out the door, so I walked over to the car, reached through and handed Heather her money that I just pulled out. And I turned around and walked right back in the door. And I says, okay, so first, this money's missing. Now, you fixed it, and now you've given me the money twice. And the gal says, I was wondering if you would notice. She says it's our system. We fixed it on the back end, but the front end didn't recognize the back end, and so the front end automatically put the same amount into your account again. She says, I know it's confusing, but it's new technology. And I says, yeah, okay, new technology. Just letting you know, you fixed it, now it's broke again. And I ain't even been, 3 hours, okay? Yeah, she knows, okay, and I left. But I told her, the money I withdrew wasn't even for me. It was for Heather. And she says, yeah, I'm an advocate of any time a man gives woman money. And, of course, now she's probably a lady that's in her 40s. And, yep, she's a hardcore advocate of any time a man gives a woman money. And I'm like, yeah, I'll bet you are. I didn't say it to her, I was like, yeah, I bet you are. See him as an ATM machine, don't you? Okay? But that's not the point. The point is there's a lot of women out here that ain't after your money. And for when the manosphere says it's all women want, they look at you as an ATM machine, there's truth to that, but then that's not 100% across the board. Nothing ever is. There's an awful lot of women that don't. But it still comes down to, can you get a woman without being a Hollywood star, without being a Brad Pitt, or without having money? Of course you can. Yeah. You know, there's women out here that the guy ain't got no work. The guy's not working. And the woman still likes him and wants to be with him, and she's the one with the income. So how would that fit into your zone manosphere? It doesn't, does it? It doesn't fit into what you're preaching. That's because social engineering is 60 to 70% of the problems, but it doesn't matter how good they are at brainwashing the public. There's always what I want to say, these stragglers, the people that don't fall for the programming. The people that actually use their brain and have critical thinking skills and uses their brain to think over things and to look at things and don't have to think with the all hive mind brain in the jar that the majority of our society is thinking with. And this is a fact. This is why there's a certain person from overseas, over the United Kingdom, that's only 21 years old, that I got newfound respect for the fact that he's 21 years old and he's showing and representing somebody with critical thinking skills, somebody who pays attention to what's going on around him at 21 years old and uses that thing in his head to think with and don't think with the brain in the jar. So proud to see that. I really am. And why am I proud to see that? Because he's not going to be a victim of you pulling the blanket over his eyes. Okay, so that's why. And in the manosphere, it is true what Steve Hoka said. They're asphyxiated on stuff that's not reality whatsoever. No problem straight across the board, but how would I measure success? Not with just because you get a woman in your life, because she could be in your life a week. She could be in your life 2 weeks. She could be in your life 6 months, a year, 2 years. She could be in your life as Heather has been with me for 4 years and has also made my life living a hell. Yes, I don't lie to you. See, the success is going to be about being able to be a couple and not have the social engineering from our society interfere with the relationship. Because you go out, you see women with men. It's like the car. That's why I brought up the buying the new car, the new used car. That doesn't mean nothing. I'll tell you why. First off, you don't know them. Second off, they may have just gotten together. Ain't even been together very long. Third off, they could be having what appears to be a good time to you in your face and be getting home and treating each other like complete utter dirt. Screaming and yelling and fighting. There could be domestic violence. See, you would know this because even if a man and a woman ain't getting along, and you look at the divorce rate where it's at, You look at the no-fault divorce rate. You look at the children that are minus a dad in their life or a mother in their life, mostly the dad. But there are some that's minus the mother, like my son, who's now an adult but didn't have his mother from the time he was 4 years old. Okay, so the thing is this. Because you see somebody together does not mean they're happy. Because you may have been at this football game or this basketball game or this social event or this or that, wherever you're at, and they appear to be happy in your eyes, doesn't mean they are. Because when you go out in public, people have a tendency of putting on their fake face. Yeah, their fake mask. Most people will not be their true selves in a public setting. They will put on their best demeanor for the public setting. Most people. There are a few stragglers that'll get out there and they'll get into a confrontation, drama, and fight right in the public's face and not care. Yes, we see that too, don't we? So do you see how this works? So when you really think about it, the reality is the real world. In the real world, not the internet world, not the television set world, not the things that are responsible for shaping our behaviors, it's like when I talked about people's sexual attractions. You know, Warren and I had this talk. Sexual attraction. What people find attractive. When you find a female attractive or she finds a male attractive. It's not hardwired into you. No! And of course, that's the propaganda. That's the big lie that people fall for. They think it's hardwired in there. No, it's not. It's shaped and molded. It's socially engineered into you. And you're going to say, no, it ain't. Yes, it is. And I can back that up. Okay? And I'm telling you the truth. I'm not lying to you. I can back that up. You just have to be willing to use this that's in your head. That's right, that brain. If you actually use your brain, you're going to figure out how it was shaped. That's right. It's like everything else. It's been socially engineered. It's been shaped and programmed into you. And you had no idea what was happening. It's not hardwired. Okay? No. It's not in your DNA. It's not in your anything else. It's not evolution. It's not natural selection. It's not in your genes. No, it is not. It's all lies that have been fed to you and fed to you and fed to you. You know, somebody feeds you a lie and they keep repeating the lie and repeating the lie and repeating the lie and repeating the lie and repeating the lie. And then next person over is a teacher or professor or whatever, and they're repeating the lie and repeating the lie and repeating the lie and repeating the lie and repeating the lie. You begin to believe the lie, and most people will not question the teacher. They won't question the professor. They won't question the teacher. That's right. If you're in school, you don't question your teacher. You listen. They know what they're talking about, even if they don't. If you're in college, if they're in university, and it's your professor, you're not going to question them because you know they are the skilled brain. Even if they're feeding you propaganda that they've been taught to feed you, that they fell for, now they fed to you and you fell for it. See, truth is truth, a lie is a lie, and never would, you know. But overall, in the dating arena, Steve made a lot of valuable points. The manosphere has a tendency of skewing the truth. Now, I understand what Steve's saying, and I would never measure success on I've seen all these couples together at this event. So success still exists because nothing's 100% across the board. We don't know. This could be a brother and sister sitting together. This could be a longtime friend of the family sitting next to her. This could be, you don't know. So unless you physically know these people, you cannot just say they're couples. And then if they are couples, you cannot say the success of that. Because we still have a whole lot of men and a whole lot of women who want to have somebody opposite in their life, their opposite gender. Just like we have a whole lot of men, hundreds of millions of men all over the world live in TFL, they can't get their opposite gender in their life. But you still, even out of hundreds of millions of men that can't get a woman in their life, there's still hundreds of millions of men that have a woman in their life. And out of them hundreds of millions that have a woman in their life, there's hundreds of millions of them that ain't going to make it. And they're going to be at each other's throat. Domestic violence is going to happen. The court system is going to be used. Hate, anger, fighting, and their inability to get along. Social engineering is divided us, so the biggest problem I see is social engineering is responsible for people's behaviors. And the biggest problem I see is our behaviors. And it's not a gender issue. It's right down the middle. It really is. We have as many pieces of crap men out here doing wrong onto women as we do women doing wrong onto men. But when it comes to the dating arena and men, the women, on the other hand, are like the kid in the candy store because they never really had to do anything to get a date. Never. Hardest thing they had to do was clean up, put on some nice clothes, and take their pick. And for the guy, it don't work that way. He has the competition of all the other penises because we've over-sexualized our society. And we've removed sex from the back of the list and we moved it to the front of the list. And because of that, of course, I don't need to go any further, do I? We've destroyed relationships. We've destroyed people. People's destroying people. And children are being left without a parent. And because of male shaming and male bashing, more social engineering, we have not on a conscience level, but on a deep subconscious level, there's a whole lot of women out here who hate men, and don't even know they do. That's no lie. And how can I say that? Because actions speak louder than words. Words are a dime a dozen. Words don't tell truth. Actions tells truth. That's how I can say that. Pay attention to the female behavior and her actions. Compare it to the male shaming and male bashing as you go through life around a female. And you will pretty soon pick up on, of course, not every day, not all the time, but you will pick up on the behaviors when she's around other men. You will pick up on the behaviors that represents that social engineering, and she will be hateful towards a guy because she hates him, because he's a guy, and she won't consciously be aware of it. That's thank you TV set. Thank you Hollywood for all the neuralistic programming The social engineering, that's what that is, right in your face. This topic is so deep. But the truth is, yes, there's hundreds of millions of men that have a woman in their life. There's also hundreds of millions of men that can't even get a woman. And I beg to differ when I say, what do you measure success by? I tell TFLers all the time, what are you in a hurry to smash yourself in the head with a hammer for? And they think I'm nuts. And I say, no, I'm not nuts. I understand what it's like to have a woman in your life every day. I understand when you are like, why the hell did I do that to myself? What the hell was I thinking? I was happier being alone. And for you men, hundreds of millions of men that can't get a woman in your life, I know that's hard for you to understand, isn't it? Believe me, you get a woman in your life, and she's there every day for you. Your first few months is going to be the greatest of your life. You're going to be so happy, so ecstatic. And give it about 6 months, a year. It'll all change. Sure will. Give you a couple, 3 years, and you're going to be going. And now, this is where I measure my success at. Why? I'm going to say your success is going to start after 5 years. Yep. From 0 years to 5 years, that's your probationary time. Yep, sure is. This is when you're going to find out if you had success or if you didn't have success. You may not like me saying that, but the reality is seeing that 0 to 5 years, you created a life. And that life you created don't have a daddy no more, or don't have a mommy no more. And that is the average ratio time of the majority of all relationships in today's society. Thanks to social engineering that you didn't account for when you got together. And so you can't go out and look at the event, the arena, the this and the that, and measure that as there's still a win. That don't mean there's a win. Because at this point, the win is how many more children are going to be without a parent. Because of your inability to treat each other right because of social engineering. But when Steve Hoka mentioned money, he was like 1,000 times right on spot, man. I'm telling you, right on spot. Because it's not true that what's the only thing women want. Not true at all. And I know that to be a fact. But that's, I guess, what I wanted to say. So to the manosphere, to the TFLers, to the INCELs, even to the normies, the reality is it is our behavior that's the biggest enemy of all of us. And that came from social engineering. And if I was going to say it's a win and success, I'm going to start that measuring tool after 5 years of a couple being together and not 1 minute before. And that's why. Because you got a girl doesn't mean you have a girl. Because she has a man doesn't mean she has a man. It doesn't mean you have success. I mean, unless success is being treated lower than a piece of dirt on the ground and saying, what the hell did I do this to myself for? Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. With that, guys, I'm out of here.